Welcome to our video on how to self-publish a book on Amazon using Kindle Direct Publishing. So in a moment, I'm going to walk you through literally the back dashboard at Amazon KDP and walk you through all 3 pages of every single bit of information that you need to include when you upload your own book and cover. Okay, so this will help you immensely be prepared for what you need to have ready to go when you're going over there to do that, and also what to expect when you see all these pages. All right, so let's get going. Get out of my slideshow and come over to KDP. So this is where you will land if you go to kdp.amazon.com. And this is just what it looks like. If you've never been in here before, you're going to have to sign in. Okay? Once you sign in by clicking this button and then setting up an account and everything, it will take you to this page. And on this page, you know, it's giving you some updates at the top. You know, that's what the little eyes are. Like, information, pay attention to me. You're like, okay, whatever. You read them as you need to. But the most important one that you'll be dealing with on this screen, if it's brand new to you, if you've not done this before, is that you just hit the Create button. And when you hit the Create button, it's going to take you to this screen, if it'll do it, that gives you options. Do you want to make a Kindle ebook? Do you want to develop a paperback? Are you going to put up a hardcover? You know, what exactly are you doing? And there's a couple of other choices, but these are the 3 that are really utilized most often. And for this example, I'm going to be walking you through a Kindle ebook, okay? And the one that I'm using is one I've already put up, actually, because it's just everything's already filled in. It's just going to make it a lot simpler. And I can talk you through some of the pieces. All right, and I believe I have that already open. Yes. So if I went down, if I said Kindle ebook, create an ebook, it would immediately take me to this page right here, this screen. Okay. And it asks you all these questions. Maybe I should make my screen a little bigger so you can see the questions better and you can, you know, see what's happening. So the first thing that it asks you is what language is the book in? And you just want to pick the language that you've written it in, okay? And English, there's like all kinds of choices of English. But with this one, I just picked regular English because that's what I write in. That's what I wrote it in. All right. The book title is Peering Through the Veil. The subtitle is The Simple Step-by-Step Guide to Meditation and Inner Peace. This is a book that I wrote. This is my very first book in print. It came out in 2012, and then I created an ebook at some time later, which I'm not even remembering, basically using the same information, just reformatting it specifically for ebook. So there's several changes that are required when you go from printed book format to ebook format. This video is not here to explain all that to you. We'll do that some other time, okay? But once you've set the book title and subtitle in the book itself, you can't change those, okay? In the ebook version, though, look, it's letting me do that. So I'm surprised, actually. I knew you could change the subtitle in an ebook. I didn't know that you could change the title as well. But you want the title of the book to match up with the cover and what you have on the cover. So I don't really recommend changing the book title. All right. So then you have to tell them, is it a series? So if this is book 1 or book 10 or whatever in a fiction series, you need to tell it that. And when you click the link, it will open up some other options that you have to fill in. What's the name of the series and which, you know, volume is this one in that series, etc. It also asks you about edition number. Now, you can leave this blank. It's optional. And so edition is like, sometimes somebody writes a book that becomes quite popular, and then at 10 years or 20 years, they do an anniversary edition. Okay. So that's kind of what this is about. If this is the first time you're publishing this, but now you have an updated version. The cool thing about print on demand and KDP is that when you make minor updates to your book, to your manuscript, to the text inside the book, you don't have to give it a new edition number. Okay. Technically, if you give something a new edition number, if it's a printed book, it should have a new ISBN number. And they're not cheap, right? You have to buy one for every single edition. And so most of us, for making small, minor changes in a text to update it to the latest information or whatever, we just change it, and we don't change the edition number. We just leave it alone. What is the author name? So the primary author, Debbie Takara Sheeler. These are what I write under, okay? If there is a contributor or a co-author, they would go down here under contributors, okay? For this particular book, I don't have a co-author. I've done a lot of books where I have had co-authors, where I've co-written a book with one other author, or I've led collaborations where there's, every single person involved wrote a chapter. So sometimes this is, one person's name and contributors, and sometimes it's a whole laundry list of names because there have been multiple people contributing to the book. So those are all listed here. And something else that you can do in contributors is, because there's a drop down, you can actually indicate if there is an illustrator or something like that. So with one of the books that I did, I actually put the illustrator here, so they also got credit. So in their Amazon page, when it says, what books have you done, and all of the books populate for a particular author, that particular book showed up because he was the illustrator. All right, so there's different things here. But again, this is only if you have people collaborating with you, and if you don't, you're just going to leave this whole thing blank. All right. Next, we come down to description. Now, the description is one of those super important pieces, okay? And a lot of people take a lot of time to figure out these words. Now, they give you, I think it's 5,000. The description can be quite long, and I've heard different experts say you want it shortened to the point and so they can get on with it, and others are like, use every word possible. You use all that whole space because it's sales copy, basically. You're trying to grab their attention. You're trying to give them compelling reasons that they want to read the book, and you're also trying to put in the text words that they might be searching on Amazon, these keywords. I've never liked the word keyword because it often means more than one word, right? So I like the word key phrase because that's often what it is. Regardless, okay? You want to put in there words that people are going to search so that they can find your book. And you make sure that the words that you use are truthful about the book that you're presenting to the world, okay? But you want it to be compelling. This is prime real estate. This is really important copy. If you don't know how to write sales copy, if you don't know marketing, if you haven't studied all of that stuff, I'm sure you can go to Fiverr, that's Fiverr, and get someone to do a description for you. You can get them to do pretty much everything over there, but you want to watch their ratings, okay? And you also want to watch the price, because things start at $5 on Fiverr, but they go up quickly. And so you want to, comparison shop and shop around and see who people like and who are getting wonderful accolades for their work if you use things on Fiverr. But some of us, for a ebook that I actually give away on my website, I went to Fiverr.com for my cover design, but I'm giving the book away, right? For a printed book, I'm going to pay a cover designer specifically for the niche that I'm in, because that's just what you do. But anyway, you can format it, meaning you can bold things, you can italicize things, you can underline things, you can have numbered lists or bulleted lists. So all of that is possible in here. It's kind of tricky. And so there are places online where you can get, like there's like a description formatting generator, okay? And you can put the text in that you've created and then go in and format it there, and it will come up with the right code that you would then put in source, where it would be all this like HTML stuff. I think it's HTML that it's writing in. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. You don't really need to worry about that part. It's just that there are ways to get it formatted that make it really stand out, okay? And those generators are available online. And then publishing rights. Do you own the copyright to this material? Now, if it's unique to you, if you wrote it yourself, the answer there is yes, I own the copyright. It's my unique words, okay? But it could be public domain. And so public domain means things that were written before a certain date. And you need to check online because I'm not remembering if that's 70 or 80 years. But there's, legal things about public domain, or if it's now in the public domain, it was once copyrighted, but the copyright is over because it's so old, and so there are people that publish books that other people wrote that are public domain. Amazon used to really frown on that, but since they have it here, they're letting you do it. I don't know if I would, not on Amazon, but anyway, it's totally up to you. Next, we have keywords, and you're looking for 7 keywords, or like I said, phrases like lower blood pressure or how to meditate are key phrases that represent your book. Now, you can just guess, which is basically when I put this up, because I based this on what I did in 2012. And that was a long, long time ago, right? That's over 10 years ago. So I didn't really research these words. So we're going to research them right now. Okay. So there's a really, really cool tool called Publisher Rocket. We use it in our publishing business. All of our author success clients have achieved bestseller status with our help and using this tool that I'm going to show you. Okay. So as I've put out new material, since this tool has been available, I've used it with mine. Now I'm going back. This is a very old book. Okay. It's now like 11 years old, I think. And so I didn't do all this because the tool wasn't available then, right? So I'm doing it now with you watching me as we do this. So we're going to go into Publisher Rocket. Once you own the software, right? You download it, you get updates and all of that as part of the package. But these are some of the different things that it does, and they often do updates, and many of them are just truly amazing and powerful and, incredible. They do have tutorials that walk you through each piece of it, but in another video, I'm actually going to walk you through how to do some of this. We're going to do a little bit of it right here, but I'm going to dive much deeper into it in another video. So right now, we were looking up keywords. Like I said, we're allowed to have 7. So we're going to go into keyword search, and we just type it in right here. So the book is about meditation, and it's actually Kindle. Okay, so I'm only looking for keywords that are being searched for Kindle books. And then we hit this go get 'em rocket. Go get 'em rocket. Okay, and it's going to do its little thing. So inside Publisher Rocket, I looked at meditation as the key phrase that I put in there, which is just a keyword, and it gave me all of these different results, but it hasn't populated any of these things, okay? So before I have it populate stuff, what I'm going to do is walk you through what each of these mean and which ones to pay attention to for what we're doing right now. Average pages means if they are The top ranking books, this is because it shows you how many pages those books are, okay, which is a good thing to know. It also tells you the number of competitors you have, like how many people have written a book where they're using the key phrase or keyword meditation. For that particular thing, it's going to be massive. It's going to be really big, right? What is the average price for this word? Okay, so books about meditation, what's the average price that they're selling for? Good to know, okay? What is the average monthly earning? Now, I believe this is of the top books, okay? And when we say top books, we're really talking about the top 10 in the category. It's really hard to rank for a single word category like meditation. It's easier to rank for what's called long tail, and that is, it's a long tail. The key phrase is long, right? They call it long tail. So some of these other longer phrases would be easier to rank for. Okay, they'd have less competition, but they would probably also earn less per month because there are fewer searches. Then another beautiful thing that Publisher Rocket tells you about is estimated Amazon searches per month. Okay, and that lets you know. Now this is estimated because Amazon isn't going to tell you, but based on a whole lot of analytics that this tool is doing in the background, they're estimating it. And the estimate is pretty close. It's pretty good. Okay. And finally, and I'm covering it up, but this last column right here says competitive score. They're telling you with a number and also with a color coding, green, orange, or red, how hard it's going to be to rank for this particular word, okay? So the way we have to do something in order to get this figured out is we click on this and Rocket will go look for that data and figure it out for us. So the average numbers of pages of the top like 10 books in the category is 213. There are 61,000 books out there utilizing meditation as a key phrase, keyword in their, in their list of keywords, in their descriptions, in their titles, that sort of thing. The average price for an ebook, because we're doing Kindle, remember, the average price of the ebooks are around $5. So kind of high, okay, as ebooks go. Right? The average monthly earnings of some of the top people in the category is $1,870 a month for the top people selling books. They're making about that much per month. This is how many people search that word, that keyword, 4,828. And the competition, you can see that it's red. It's very high. There's look at all 61,000 competitors. That's a lot of competitors. Meditation. So this one is Marcus Aurelius Meditations book. I don't know who that is, but it's a person, so that it doesn't, I wouldn't include that as something that I would use as my keyword because I'm not that person, right? So I would then look at meditation basics for beginners because that is kind of what this book is about. It's not necessarily talking about just for beginners, but here's what we know. The average book that says this as a key phrase has 127 pages. There's 640 competitors, which is great, almost none, basically. In the Amazon world, that's very low for a key phrase. The average price of those books, of those ebooks, is $6. The earnings are terrible, right? The average person who's showing up at the top of that search phrase is only making about $16 a month from their book. That's not good. And that's because there's less than 100 searches a month for that key phrase. You get a green light, it would be easy to show up high in the search engines for this key phrase, keyword, but why would you want to? Because there's not enough traffic looking. You know, you want to look for things that have a decent amount of people searching, but not tons and tons of competition. So you really are looking for green and orange here, but less than 100 is just not enough. Okay. Meditation for beginners free. Now, technically, if they bought the book, this is probably looking for free ebooks. Okay. But again, there's less than 100 searches for this. So even though it would be even easier to rank for it, it's not worth your time and effort. However, people are making more with this than they were with that, right? But again, free might be people looking for free ebooks, but if it's looking for how to meditate without having to pay for a program, my book actually does qualify for that. There's not enough searches. Meditation's a new translation. Well, it's not about a translation. Meditation's about the same person. Like, I don't really know what that is, but that is not what I'm doing. Transcendental meditation. Okay, my book does mention transcendental meditation, so I could include that here. But there's less than 100 searches. Meditation A. Well, that's really weird, but maybe they start to write it and then they stop writing a second word. There's actually over like 1,300 searches. There's a lot of competition though. A whole lot of people have put that either in their description or in their keywords in the list. Those books are longer, and you know, but I mean, it's doable. So I might think about that one, right? But you get the idea. So I would go through this list. I would find really great keywords. All right. So I'm going to get out of Publisher Rocket and go back to this page, and I would fill these in. So I'm actually not, while you're waiting on me, I'm going to fill in much better keywords for my book that came out in 2012 that I haven't updated these key phrases. Now, why haven't I updated the keywords? Because I've been so busy helping clients, I have ignored my own books, and that's just the truth. Okay. And I'm not the only one that does that, right? People who coach things tend to spend so much time and energy focused on their clients and helping them be a success that their stuff takes a back burner, and you just don't have time to pay attention to that stuff. So I am going to be going back to all mine and using all the tools I know, right? Because I know a lot, because I help other people, you know, sell a lot of books and become bestsellers all the time. All right, categories is the next piece. So I have already chosen 2 categories. You're only allowed 2 right here, but you are allowed 10 overall. So you have to come back in a different way, which I'll explain some other time in another video, to get those extra 8 categories, okay? But you begin with 2. So again, we can do that inside KDP. So inside KDP, I was just playing around this morning with some other words. So we will go to category search, and we will type in the word, I want to make sure I say Kindle, and then, because the categories are different for books and ebooks on Amazon. There's some crossover, but there's also a whole other things going on with them. So you have to make sure that the keywords, the categories you're choosing are appropriate for your Kindle book, or if they're appropriate for your printed book. You need to know. Oops. Okay. So I'm going to type meditation in here. And these are the different ones. These are the different categories. And this is very cool. It is incredibly helpful if you're trying to become a bestseller, because you're looking for, what does it take to get to be number one? How many sales do I have to make to become a number one bestseller in this category? And look at these small numbers, right? Now, the first one is children's ebooks. This is not a children's book, so that one immediately is disqualified from me even considering it, okay? It only takes 24 to get into this category. It only takes 13 to get in this one, and, so what they're looking at to truly be considered a best-selling author. Now, technically, it just means that you're in the top 100. But at Deep Dive Publishers, we're like, if you don't get in the top 10, we are not calling you a best-selling author. We're just not going to do it. It's just not, it feels inauthentic, right? So what this is showing you is, what does it take to hit number one? What does it take to hit number 10? And we're talking about sales in an hour on Amazon, okay? That's why when people do big launches for their books, they do this concerted effort where they've got social media going and they've got emails going out and they have friends posting on all over social media and sending emails out for them. And it's just this huge, they run ads, they do all these things. There's this huge push all at exactly the same time to get as many sales as you possibly can in the smallest window you can get, right? And so that's what this is about. In an hour, to get to number one in this particular category, you'd have to make 4 sales. That is not very much. To hit the top 10, you'd only need 1 sale. So if you got a kid's book that's about meditation, heck, maybe I'll write one, right? Because that is really easy to do. Okay? So a lot of these, you just need 1 sale in some of these categories to do really well. All right, so meditation, Kindle and Amazon and a lot of bookstores, they throw religion and spirituality together. I've never understood why, because in my mind they're quite different, but they do. They put them all together. So under religion and spirituality, they have Christian books and Bibles. They have Bibles, study and reference, meditation. Okay, my book is not about a Bible. My book on meditation is not about a Bible, so none of these Bible ones would be appropriate. Now, if you wrote a meditation book and it is a Christian book and Bible and talks about those things, really gets into Christianity a lot in the book, you could use one of these categories, okay? This one is talking about Judaism. This is talking about New Age. This one is spirituality. And this one is personal health mindfulness. But again, it's teen and young adult. I probably wouldn't do that. I would have to think about what's in there, because I tell a lot of personal stories, and I'd have to think about, is there anything inappropriate for a teen or young adult? The answer for mine is probably no, but it's still not really where the book is geared. So I probably would not choose that one. But I mean, look at this one. Kindle ebooks, religion and spirituality, spirituality meditations. It only takes 3 to be in the top 10, okay? So this is definitely a category I would choose, and it might be where I am already, okay, because I'm not remembering what those categories were. But you get the idea. It's super simple to use this tool. If you don't use this tool, it takes forever to figure this out yourself, because you're going to look up meditation, you're going to look up the top books in those categories, you're going to look at every single one of them one by one, going down to the bottom of their description to see if they're in the top whatever, and it'll tell you the categories there. It's hard to do. It takes a lot of time, and this tool does it all for you beautifully. Okay, that's why I love it. That's why I use it all the time with myself and my clients. And if you use our link from Deep Dive Publishers, we have some bonus gifts for you if you buy Publisher Rocket through our link. All right, so I'm going to pop out of Publisher Rocket, make that small again, and go back to here. So we've looked at our keywords and our categories, okay? Next, we go down and we look at the age and grade range for this book. Now, this only applies if you're writing children's books, okay? So this is your age range, minimum and maximum, and this is your grade range, minimum and maximum. Now, we have published children's books. We have some author clients that publish children's books, and so, they've hired us and we've gotten involved, so we've learned a lot about children's book publishing. So when it comes to minimums and maximums on age range and grade levels, I highly recommend that you go to other really successful books in those categories and compare the languaging, the reading level, etc. of your book with these really popular books. And you can do that by look inside. You go to the Amazon page and you can see, right above the image of the cover, there it says look inside. And if you click that, it opens the ebook up and you can actually go down and read a teeny tiny bit of the book. Okay. But you can see how much text is on each page. Is it full of, just one giant image with a couple of words? Those are usually for very young children. But see what their age ranges are, because you want to make sure that yours is fitting with others. So that's like a tip for children's authors. And you can hear if it was pre-order. So a lot of people there's two choices here, date you want to publish or if you want to do pre-orders. But because this is a book that's already been up, I don't get those two choices right because it's already published. So when it says released, that is when I did the latest update. Okay. So the latest update to my ebook was in 2020. The printed book, like I said, was 2012. And the ebook came, I don't know. I don't even remember when I put the ebook out. But it was, maybe a year later or something like that. I didn't do it right away, okay? But this is just an update. So there has been an ebook available much longer than this. But these two choices that you get, it's either I'm going to publish it as soon as I put it up here and it looks good, right? I'm publishing immediately. Or I want to put it on pre-order. I'm going to pick a date out in the future where I'm going to do this huge launch and I'm going to tell everybody and their brother, and I'm going to invite everyone I know and every other author I know and all of my friends and people that have big lists on Amazon or big email lists. And, I'm going to find everybody I can think of to help support me and mail out and post on social media on a particular day. And so you would pick pre-order and you'd say then what the date's going to be that you actually want to make the book available to the public. So people can go ahead and buy it, but it won't ship until the date that you chose. Okay, that's how that works. I didn't really change anything, so I'm just going to hit save and continue. I actually think that I can go here because I didn't change anything, and I can continue without saving. So like I said, there's 3 different pages of information. All right. So right here, we have the manuscript, and right under it is the cover. Okay. So you have to format it for ebook, in an ebook format. Okay. They have guidelines. You can download them. It's really easy to fit the format. You can go to Fiverr. We mentioned that already, fiverr.com. That's with 2 R's on Fiverr, and have somebody format it for you. Like, there's a lot of things that you can do, right? But once you're ready, you have it in the right format, you can upload the document. In ebook form, you can even bring it in as a docs file straight from Word, which is what I did with this, okay? And it actually looks good. Certain things that you do, like when you're doing a printed book, I've found that it's much better to upload a PDF, that the conversion is better, that the margins stay correct, that the headings and footings headers and footers stay better. Like all of it seems to work better when I use a PDF to upload. But for Kindle, they don't care. And their translator that puts it into the format they need can take that doc file, convert it, and put it into the format you need. Okay, I'm trying to find my thing here. Okay, so then we have a cover. Now this is an ebook, all right? You have the option of creating a cover inside KDP. I don't recommend it unless you're a graphic designer. And if you're a graphic designer, you're going to use much better tools than are available here. And you don't want something that doesn't look professional. You want your ebook cover to look as professional as the ebooks coming out by traditional publishers. You want to stand out and fit in your market, okay? And so we highly recommend that you get a cover designer. So, you know, with a printed book, you have a front cover, the spine, and then a back cover. So you have a lot of stuff that has to be in it, and it's an all-in-one graphic, right? All of that is created in one graphic. But for an ebook, all you need is the front cover. Okay, so that's what I've uploaded here. It's been there for ages. But it has to be in a JPEG or TIFF format. It can't be something else. It has to be in one of these. So, you know, it can't be in PNG, which is if you're using Photoshop or something else. It has to be converted to JPEG or TIFF. So just keep that in mind, because it'll give you an error and it won't work. Once it's uploaded, you can actually launch a previewer and view the thing. So I'm going to hit this button to just show you what it looks like. But it often takes quite a while to render. So I'm going to pause the video and then come back in when it's actually up, so you don't have to sit here and wait. Okay? So I'm going to launch the previewer. It's saving any changes I might have made. And then it's going to do its thing. So I'm going to pause the video here. So it rendered this actually pretty fast, which is great. I'm going to make my screen, I had made it larger so you could see the questions, but I'm going to try to make it smaller. It doesn't seem to want to do that. There we go. That way you can see more of what I'm seeing here. Okay. So this is showing you Kindle, and over here you get the choice of seeing it on a tablet, seeing it on a phone, or seeing it in the Kindle e-reader. So if I choose Kindle e-reader, it's showing you what it looks like on the really old ones, right? And if the tablet is like a Kindle Fire, the new ones, right? So you can see in full color and all of that. So that's what I'm going to show it to you in. What we're looking for here, well, you do want to make sure that your cover looks good, okay? But from there on, really what we're looking for is formatting, okay? You know, is anything really wonky? And I just scroll through. You just keep clicking the arrows and you scroll through and you scroll through and you know, scroll through. And you're just looking for format strangeness, okay? And if there is any format strangeness, then you need to go back to your document and work on wherever the problem areas were. If there were problems, at least in the printed versions, it would actually tell you over here. It would tell you that, you know, it is possible that there's a problem right here, and it actually lets you go straight to it. But here in the ebook thing, it's not telling you all of that. But, you know, so I took out a lot of the formatting, because in an ebook you don't want that. But I kept in a little, right? So I've got bigger headings, I've got a quote, and I've got it italicized and slightly larger, okay? And then we go into the text. So, you know, that's just one way to format an ebook. There's a million different ways. It's your preference, but again, you want it to fit in with your genre. You want it to look like another book in the genre, or a whole bunch of books in your genre. You want it to look like it is supposed to be in that genre. All right. You can have bullet lists. you know, but there's certain format things that you can do with text that do not work well at all in Kindle. Okay, so one of the things I'll show you once I get to like a second chapter, that is, oh, I didn't have it here. Oh, so let me go back here. Or maybe not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If I look at the table of contents and I go to the table of contents, which KDP creates for you. You do not have to create and have a table of contents in your text because KDP will do that, okay? But I'm going to go back to the introduction or the foreword. I'm going to go back to the foreword, maybe even before that. This page, okay. In the printed version of this book, I have this image behind the titles of each chapter, the chapter headings. And they look gorgeous in the printed version, but that will not work. You cannot have text on top of pictures in an ebook and have it render right. I mean, I'm sure there's a way, but I ended up just taking it all out because it just looked horrible. Okay, so you're going to run into some of those sorts of things. The fewer images, the better, all right, inside your text, unless it's a children's book, of course. But the size of your text, we're not talking about page count. We're talking about how big the file is itself, okay? The file gets much larger if you have a lot of images inside, okay? So the more images you have, the bigger that file gets, and at some point, Amazon will no longer allow you to make the ebook 99 cents because the file is too large, okay? So a way to minimize that, even if you have more pages, is to take down as many images out as you possibly can. Now, Peering Through the Veil does have a lot of images. I have showing like hand positions for meditation. I have some tools that you might want to use. And so there are photos in there. So this is one of those that, you know, because it's too large, Amazon won't let me make it 99 cents. And so you want to keep that in mind if you plan on running sales and specials periodically on your ebooks. All right. Something I will say about this book, in the printed form, when I first published it in 2012, right away, I hit number 2 in my category. This was the first book I put in print, and along the way, I had developed a system because my background's engineering. So I learned all about publishing, being an author, successful launches, that sort of thing. I implemented all that stuff, and right out of the gate, we hit number 2 in my category. So that is what we started with when we started helping other clients and publishing other books. And since then, every single book that we've launched has become a bestseller. And these are some of the tools that we use that I've showed you here. All right, so we're going to get out of this. We've reviewed this. We're pretending, right? We were pretending that we reviewed the manuscript. And then if you want to put the name of the publisher, and then you also want to put an ISBN number if you have an ISBN for an ebook. Now, the only reason you would ever get an ISBN for an ebook is if you're also publishing it on other platforms like Barnes & Noble and the Nook, or Apple, you know, with their, whatever their app is called. So, you know, that has to be in different formats. It has to be uploaded in those separate places. But if you were doing that, you would need an ISBN for your ebook version, because books and ebooks, even though it's the same text, have to have a separate ISBN for each version of the book. So if you went into hardback, it also would need its own unique ISBN. But on Amazon, Amazon doesn't care, so you don't need an ISBN. Yay! You get to save some money. Okay. All right, so we're going to go up and go to page, the final piece of this whole puzzle. I know it's, you know, it takes a while, but I'm trying to explain to you and go in some depth in describing why we do what we do and all that stuff. All right. So now that we're on the third page, do we want to enroll in KDP Select? Right? Do we want to be part of that? Now, the thing to remember about KDP Select, there's two things. The first thing is it allows you to set your book for free for 5 days out of every 90 days. Okay? It also allows you to participate in KDP Unlimited, where people who subscribe to KDP to Unlimited, you know, they get to, it's basically like a library. They get to use this book. They get to read this book. They're not paying extra. They're not buying the book from you, right? It's part of KDP Unlimited, which means they get to read it. And based on how many pages they read of your book, you, the author, get paid a certain amount. And there's a formula for that, and we're not going to get into all of it, but you have to be enrolled in KDP Select to do either of those two things. Now, the caveat is that if you're in KDP Select, your ebook cannot be sold anywhere else. You can only be on Amazon if you're in KDP Select. And when you make that choice, you're locked in for 90 days. Okay? So what some people do is if they have a series, a book series, they will enroll their first book in KDP Select. They will make it free every 90 days for 5 days, or throughout the 90 days, they'll have free days. You know, they'll do little promotions the whole time. That gets people reading their first book in the series, and then their second book, they have to buy, right? So the first one was so good, it enticed them. Immediately, they wanted to read the rest of it, and so then they're buying the rest of the series. That's one way to do that. A lot of people do KDP Select in order to, when they do the free version, and they're making it free for 5 days, it's a way to trump up more people finding out about it and downloading it and hopefully giving reviews, okay? But it also lets, the more downloads there are, the more Amazon notices, and then Amazon starts to promote it. So when the 5 days are over, it's still being promoted on Amazon, and so it creates more sales. So it's a way to get more eyeballs on your thing, which is, you know, always good. It's a choice, though, if you want to have a 99-cent sale, if you want to be free, if you want to be a part of Kindle Unlimited or not. And you should read a lot more about that before you make those selections, okay? But if you were, you would, you know, go into this and sign up for it. Because I'm not signed up for KDP Select. You know, nothing about that is showing up right here. All right. Territories. Now, do you only want this book to be available in the US, or only in Canada, or only in India, or only wherever, or do you want it worldwide? Most books that we do are we do the worldwide territory, and that means that, you know, it can be sold all over the world. People can download it from all over the world. The pricing changes depending on what market that's in, but I'll show you that in a few minutes, okay? Next, we have primary marketplace. That means, where do you live, basically? If you live in Canada, then this would be Amazon.ca, because that's their Canadian, you know, version. But you see all the different choices. There's France, there's the UK, there's Australia, there's all these different ones. But you want to pick the one that is primary to where you are, where you think the most of the people are going to be purchasing from. And so that's this one for me, because I'm in the US. All right. Pricing and royalties. Now, there's some things you need to know about pricing for Kindle books. Okay. If you want your book to be more than, if you want it to be under $2.99 or over $9.99 in price, you can only get 35%. Okay. If you want 70% of the royalties of the price of the book, whatever that is, your book has to be between $2.99 and $9.99. Now, this bottom number may be lower if you had a smaller file, okay? But like I said, the book that I showed you is full of images, and so this is the limitation. They have it on me for mine. But The $9.99 is cut in stone, okay? If you want to earn a 70% commission, then you cannot make your ebook more than that. So that is, because this is where they want the prices on Amazon to be. So they're giving you an incentive to put it there. So all you have to do in the pricing section is choose this or this based on what you're pricing your book at. You put in the price here, and then it does all the rest. Okay, it does all the rest of the figuring. It tells you what it's going to cost in Australia. Okay, it's going to be $11.91 in Australian money. Okay, and it's going to be $7.37. Well, it's not even dollars. Euro. Okay, it's going to do all the conversions. You don't have. It's just showing you what they are. Okay, and up here, it's going to show you, if you want 70%, this is the amount of money you're going to make every time. For this book, set at $7.99. Every time I sell an ebook, this is how much I earn. All right. Now the printed book for me is much, I charge more for the printed book because it costs more to print it. And I believe my profit is higher. Okay. I can't remember for this particular book. I think it's like $16.99 or $17.99. Sometimes you put the 7 at the end rather than the 9. You know, there's all these marketing and sales equations and formulas and research that they've done on numbering. But that's a pretty good profit on an ebook. You know, a lot of ebooks sell for like 99 cents, or they sell for $2.99 or $3.99, typically tops. You just look at what's happening in your industry, in the category or genre that you're in, and you see what those other books are selling for based on the number of pages it is, right? If your book is 250 pages, don't compare it to books that are only 100 pages and vice versa, right? Find books that are about the same size in the same category and see what they're charging, and, you know, kind of follow suit. And you want to look at the top selling books. You want to look at the ones that are on the bestseller list in the categories you're looking at and just see what they're doing. And you can fall in that line. Now, what some self-published authors do is they make their books less because they don't have the kind of marketing budget that most traditionally published authors have. Even though the publisher is not necessarily the one promoting it, there tends to be a little bit more money involved, a little more advertising involved. Not necessarily, though. A lot of self-published authors do a lot of advertising. But just as a rule of thumb, some of them choose to make their book less than a traditionally published book in their same genre. So it's a choice, and you can see if you make more sales that way. If you do, lowering the price but making more sales is going to get you more money than having a higher price and not making many sales, right? You just figure out the math. So that's what's in there. All right. And then terms and conditions. If you hit publish your Kindle ebook here, you're saying that, you know, I confirm that I agree to and am in compliance with the KDP terms and conditions, you know, and that the content is what I say it is and all that stuff. All right. That's it. It took me almost an hour to explain it to you, right? But I went in depth on why you make certain decisions and some things to consider and some things to be aware of as you're doing it. And hopefully you're going to find that very, very helpful. All right. So I'm not going to do any of that. I'm not updating my book at all, although I probably will after this recording. I'll go change the categories and the keywords and maybe look at the description again and tweak it a little bit. You know, the things that we should all be doing to our books to continue their sales. Like I said, mine get ignored because I'm helping other people. But I trust that you've enjoyed this, and what I'd love for you to do is like the video if you got information out of it, if it was useful, if you're going to see how it can help you when you're putting your book up. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of great videos for you. We are continuously putting out new material that will help you as a self-published author be far more than average, right? To be more successful, to become a bestseller, to sell more books. And also ring the bell if you like to get notified when we have new video coming out. All right. Until next time, bye-bye.